Mic check, test 1 2 1 2. Mic check, test 1 2 1 2. All right, we are going to do some live weather here for all of you folks that are waking up streaming with us. Give a second to get our graphics loaded and we will get started here shortly. All right, let's talk some weather here on this Saturday morning. Meteorologist Anthony Slaughter in this morning for Tracy Henson. So we've had some rain come and go this morning. A lot of this rain has really just been plain old shower activity. We don't have any severe weather this morning, but I did want to give you an update because, well, we're tracking more strong storms here as we go towards this afternoon and evening. So this morning, as you look at the Doppler radar, a lot of the rain is actually wrapping up for western portions of our viewing area, west of St. Louis, back towards Troy, Missouri, Herman, Sullivan. But St. Louis Metro and areas to our south and east, you still do have some rain around this morning. You see St. Louis Metro, light showers, even up into St. Charles. But if you go past Wentzville, west of there, you're starting to dry out as well for parts of St. Charles County. St. Louis Metro down towards Franklin, Jefferson County, you still do have rain. And then, of course, out towards the Metro East. But this is why we are doing an update this morning, because this is what I'm tracking. Yes, more storms to come this evening. I'll get out of the way and you can see the timing here. We're watching 7 o'clock until about 11. That's when the risk of severe weather is on the table. Now, we'll have rain continue south of St. Louis overnight, but it'll be just plain old rain, but also heavy in spots. This is going to be the small window here, though, from 7 till 11 this evening, where some of these storms could turn severe. Now, the risk that we're watching for today is mainly gusty wind that could top 60 miles per hour, and there could even be some quarter-sized hail embedded in some of these storms. But most of what happens this evening is really just going to be a few thunderstorms. I don't think everybody's going to see the stormy weather like we've had this morning. Pretty much all of us did have the rain, and you see the gray skies over downtown St. Louis. It's 70 this morning, so the numbers are running warm. The dew point is at 63. All week long, our dew points have been low, like in the 40s and 50s, and that's comfortable air. Well, unfortunately, it's going to be humid today, and it's all because of the rain that did come down. You can pick out your town or one close to it and see that the numbers are pretty uniform here this morning, mid-60s, pretty much all across the board from Mount Vernon over towards Belleville, Chesterfield as well, Warrenton, and there are so many activities happening here on this Saturday. You've also got the Coleman race. That's happening right now. You have the games that are happening this evening. Cardinals have a day game. Even St. Louis City SC has an evening game. So we will have the showers move away this morning, but there is another round of storms expected after about 6, 7 o'clock. You can see this futurecast takes us all the way through 6 o'clock, and areas all across from Rolla, St. Louis, back towards Flora will be dry during that time frame, but it's after that when we will have the showers and storms develop. There's also a flood risk here from areas near Franklin County, pointing southward down into the Ozarks. There will be, in our area, I think, somewhere around 2 to 3 inches of rain in these green shaded counties this evening, tonight, and to tomorrow morning. But out towards the Ozarks, there could be upwards of 3 to 5 inches of rain in those locations. So here's the futurecast, and we can show you the timing of these storms. Now, you see how they erupt mostly south of St. Louis, and I think that's where you're going to have the biggest threat today of severe weather. I want to take this back just so you can see how they originate as they pop up somewhere around 7, 8 o'clock. So you see that's how they get going. And when they start to pop up, I mean, really, not everybody's going to see these storms, but as they kind of congeal into a broken line here south around midnight, again, that's where you can see the heaviest rain will start to develop from Farmington, Perryville, all of our southern counties. I mean, you guys have really been getting hit hard this past spring. And well, here you go again. We're talking to Iron, Reynolds, Madison County down there. You see the heavy rain around midnight, and it's going to continue to form. This is going to be known as a training event. Whenever you have storms that train over the same areas, you think about a railroad track, a train, how they just have cars stacked one behind the next. That's what's happening here tonight. These storms will train over the same area, and that's why you have a risk of flash flooding. You see what I'm talking about through 5 o'clock. Look at that. All those areas still will have heavy rain into tomorrow morning. So that's why we have the flash flood watch in place. There could be some localized flooding, not only in on the roadways, but you think about your own backyard and your own basement. I know whenever we get about 5 inches in St. Louis or more, my own basement has a hard time keeping up with the sub pump going. So just keep in mind tonight, areas south, Rolla, Farmington, you could have these storms linger until about lunchtime tomorrow morning. I don't think you're going to have severe weather tonight after about 11 o'clock, but flash flooding is still a big deal and sometimes doesn't always get the attention that it does need. So the storms will clear away tomorrow afternoon and we'll be back to dry weather. In fact, we go into the next week with temperatures that are actually going to be climbing into the 90s. So after this stretch of nice weather, that's coming our way beginning tomorrow with 70s for highs. Into the next few days, it does heat up by Thursday into the 90s. And of course, St. Louis City SC, they have a match this evening. I think temperatures will be falling out of the 70s. The game, the kickoff, the match, 7:30, that's when things get going. Of course, during the afternoon, I think we're going to be dry, but because it falls in that window from 7 to 11 of that risk of strong storms, you could have a brief downpour at the game itself for this evening. The Cardinals game, I think that's going to be okay. It's a day game today, so that should be just fine. But I want to show you that 10-day forecast. Of course, today highlighted red for a storm alert, mainly this evening, again between 7 and 11. That's the window to watch for stormy weather. And then look how our temperatures climb as we go into next week. We're headed back up near 90 degrees beginning on Thursday, and this will be our first stretch of 90-degree weather that we've seen so far this year. We've only had 4 days of 90-degree weather, and they've kind of been scattered about. In fact, yesterday we hit 90, and it felt pretty good, though, with the low humidity. But as we go through this week, upcoming week, as it starts off nice with 70s, it does turn hotter and more humid as we head towards Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday next week. You can see how we still linger with those 90s in place. So I just want to get back to this graphic. If you're just joining us, you didn't catch the first half of this broadcast on our Facebook Live and, of course, on YouTube. This is what we're watching for this evening. Of course, it's Saturday. Usually Tracy's in. She's off this morning, so you have me and for her. And so it is a Saturday. I know sometimes you hear my voice and you think it's Monday, Tuesday through Friday, but Saturday morning, this is what we're watching for this evening. So the timing, again, is 7 o'clock until 11. That's when things will start to pop up. Not everybody's going to see the storms. That's why on the what column, we put isolated. So you may get a storm, you may not. This is one of those systems that as the storms start to pop on the map, they won't be congealed into one formed line as they move into St. Louis. So they'll kind of be pop up, hit and miss as they start to form during this time frame. And again, the severe weather risks are the damaging wind that could top 60 miles per hour. That could certainly break some tree branches, bring down some trees, you know, the weak limbs as well, and even bring down some power lines if those trees do fall onto those. So be mindful of that. You could lose power if we end up getting some of those stronger storms in St. Louis Metro. But I do think, again, most of this action is going to be south of St. Louis for this evening. That is what most of the models have been showing. Now, it is a low-level risk. We're not talking widespread storms. This is not going to be one of those events that produce a lot of tornadic activity. But it does look, in fact, I haven't checked this recently, but at 8 a.m., the Storm Prediction Center usually updates this graphic here, and it looks like they did. So now it looks like they've included us in a little bit of a higher risk, and you can see the risks have moved them there. We did have just a low-level risk. It was a level 1 through much of the time frame that we were watching before 8 a.m. This morning, but as mentioned, the Storm Prediction Center updates this graphic at 8 a.m. So it does look like they have updated our area now to have a level 2 risk. So no longer is it a level 1, which the thinking earlier was, again, this wouldn't be a really large storm for us, but you can see the areas that are shaded in yellow. That's the next level up. So we're talking not only just a marginal risk, the green area, that's the low-level risks for St. Louis. But this area here, where you're shaded in yellow, this is where you have the higher risk of stronger storms. Now, keep in mind, whenever we have a marginal risk, we usually don't even have severe weather. So that's the green shading here. The slight, we could get maybe 1 or 2 storms in this area that turn severe, but it's not numerous. We're not talking 7, 8, 9, 10 tornado warnings at a time. This will be one of those systems that you get maybe 1 storm that produces gusty wind, and then maybe another storm that produces hail. And that's it. I mean, we're talking just a few. They'll be scattered. But the bigger story after that time frame from 7 to 11 will become the risk of flash flooding. So if you have plans tonight, I'd say late, after about 11, into midnight. Maybe you're going out for late dinner. The bars are open late. You know, it's the weekend. Just keep in mind, in these areas here, the green shaded, that's where you're going to have the worst of the rain, upwards of, I'd say 2 to 3 for our area, but maybe even 3 to 5 out towards parts of the Ozarks. Notice St. Louis is not in this. Doesn't mean we won't have rain. Doesn't mean we won't have storms. It just means we are not expecting flash flooding in that area. So again, this flash flood watch that's in place is from tonight into tomorrow afternoon. And most of this rain is going to fall overnight into the first half of your Sunday morning. And Sunday morning, I think by that time, a lot of the storms will be out towards Sullivan, by Burnham, Farmington. Those will be pushing away and out of the area. So we just have to get through this evening, again, 7 until 11 this evening, the time frame to watch for the risk of severe weather. We always talk about what to do, you know, go indoors when thunder roars. If there are tornado warnings issued for your area, make sure you get to your basement, and that will all get going this evening. So it's one of those days when you just want to be weather aware. You want to keep an eye to the sky, and of course, keep an eye to the radar. You can always check the radar on the 5 Plus app. Of course, you can see your location, zoom into your town or your neighborhood, and see the weather that's happening where you are. But that, again, will be for this evening if you want to track those storms along with us here at 5 on your side. But you can see the showers in St. Louis are still lingering. These will probably wrap up here, I think, in the next half hour. And then after all of this rain clears away, Illinois side, probably another hour or two, then we'll start to see sunshine. In fact, today, if we get a lot of sunshine, we could be looking at storms becoming stronger than we're actually expecting. So it's one of those days where the sun will mean fuel for thunderstorm development. So this morning, the rain's clearing. This afternoon, we'll get some sun. We'll warm up into the 80s. It will turn humid. And then this evening after 7 o'clock, that's the time frame to watch for storms that could become strong, maybe even severe. So I'll leave you with this, the final glimpse at the timing again for what we're expecting. 7 until 11 this evening, a small window. That's when we could have those storms reach severe criteria, which would be, again, winds that could get over 60 miles per hour and even some hail. I think the hail today will probably be quarter-sized, if anything. We're not tracking large golf ball, tennis-sized hail. These will be smaller, quarter-size, maybe half-dollar size hail in the storms that do form. So you've been caught up to speed here this morning. We will, of course, be tracking this through the day. And when we're not on TV, you can always get updates here on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube page and on KSDK.com. Updates to come through the morning. Meteorologist Jim Castillo will be in this evening to keep you ahead of the storms and to get you through them safely. I hope you have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, hydrate. It's going to be warm, and keep an eye to the sky later on for those storms to come. I'm meteorologist Anthony Slaughter. Have a good one.